Okay, as I promised you back on Thursday, which seems like a week ago, but close to, uh, close to a week actually, I'm going to do access case number 6. Now, I haven't done any grading yet. This is Thanksgiving week, and I'm taking some time off like the rest of you, but my memory bank did say to me, you need to record uh, this video, the screencast for part 2 of last week. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, I'll take us over here to the announcements section, and I have part 1 already posted. Now, we're going to go down and we'll be working with some files, and I want to call these out. So I'm going to go ahead and get into Vital Source, which is the textbook. Let's see if we're using, no, we're using the Patrick. Yeah, we are using that text, in fact, the Lambert text. Okay. I'll get myself logged in. I hope you're having a good holiday. Put in the wrong password. I'm doing that constantly. I think that'll do it. It did. Okay. As I had mentioned, we are working with the Lambert textbook. This is the one on dealing with Microsoft Access step by step. Now, I'm going to go in here and we'll go down to the module for last week. Okay, I want to go to module. Like I said, I'll do some. I'm probably not going to do any grading until the end of the week, or maybe Wednesday. I might get inspired to do a few sections of you. All right, this was to be, of course, the Thursday the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So we were working on, this is here we were. You should have uploaded all of those workshops that we did. You should have uploaded them, and then, of course, so we'll go and we'll take a look for the resources for Microsoft Access cases. And this is in this Excel file. And as we scroll down, we're going to find, and I've got this on my computer too, Uber Audio, and I'll just jot these down real quick, which is going to be ACCDB 6. Done. And that's the welcome, and that's in the welcome module. And then we have Garden 12 and Garden 13. And of course, they're in chapters 12 to 13. Okay, so we're going to work on case number 6, and today we're going to look at data mining, customer data, queries, linking tables and reports, and this is the Uber Audio table. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's also a nice little nested query that we developed using the graphic user interface. Okay, I want to go over here to the Lambert text first of all, of course. And this is the step-by-step textbook, and we'll go to chapter 16. And we'll go down here and we'll find database management security. And and let's find chapter 16, 13, 12 and 13. Why am I thinking this? It's chapter 12 and 13. Now, chapter 12, again, protect databases. And you'd say, well, that's an odd thing to say. But as you recall, when we worked we worked Thursday night, and if you've watched the video, which you should have, you'll see that we use forms to control the way that data are inputted into our table. Okay, and forms also serve a function that allow us to use them as a database of their own, a searchable object, if you will. And then, of course, here's the chapter at a glance, chapter 12. And then formatting, we talked about that. You can go in and arrange their layout of forms. And again, if you want to, you can go through each of those. You could just walk through the chapter, and it's just going to tell you step by step by step. Now, and then they have the practice file there. And I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the Garden Company. We're over here at 12. So there's a Garden Company 12 in the companion text. Here's the access companion for Lambert. And we'll open this up. And we'll come down to chapter 12. And here's Garden Company 12. I'm going to put this out on the desktop. Okay. And we'll go back up. And we'll look at chapter 13, and that's Garden Company 13. So the textbook talks about using Garden Company chapter 3, but I'm a little skeptical about that. Although I think what they're doing is probably referring you back to some prior material and going through the forms and the layout. And again, this will take you step by step by step. Okay. And I do consolidate this quite a bit. Now they show you how to add in records, format them, etc. Okay. And even using the themes gallery to create a form, and the property sheet. And I think what they're going to do here is show you that in the forms and reports, okay? But the whole point is you protect the database. They talk about assigning passwords. Now, let me say this. I think that the password system in Access is, it's just to be frank with you, it's a little bit of a hassle. You can do it, but you are really not going to be doing any of that. You'll be logging in to a secure database. But if you have your own files, like with Excel, which is probably what you'll have in your desktop, you can use a password for it, as well as using a password for folders. Then they talk about splitting databases, okay? And they talk about a back-end database versus the front end, and the front end are all of the objects that you use to get your information, and then the back end are the tables that store the data. And that's pretty much true. And they walk us through doing this with Garden chapter 12, okay? And then you make a copy of the database, and then you use the database splitter wizard. So I'm going to show you that process here. Here's Garden Company 12. As they say, make a copy. And we'll paste it there. There's our copy. Okay, and we're going to open it up. All right, and it's got some content on here. I'll save it as the copy, and put it on desktop. All right, I'll save it. Okay, and it's set to read only, so I'm going to change the name of it. And I'm going to call it Copy Splitter. I'm just going to call it Copy Split. And we'll put it on the desktop, and that should let us save it. All right, then we'll enable the content, and we're ready to go. And now let's go back to the text. All right, and they're going to give us some information here on how to do this. We got the company split. So always make a they tell you tip, always make a copy, which makes a lot of sense. Let's go back to the database now, and the home page, and on the tools, we're going to click the Move Data Group. Okay, so we're going to click Home. Okay, and pardon me, on File, the File Tools. I just don't do this much splitting of databases. I just don't do it. Click the Home, and let's see. This up on the database tools, Earth to me. Yikes, database tools, there we go. And we want, just see, we've got the database documenter. And so we want to move data in the Move Data group, okay. And let's find the Move Data and the relationships. Strange. Let me look at this again for a second, because I'm not seeing the database tools, Move Data. All right, let's find the database tools, and I've got the relationships. Oh, and the move, here's the Move table. I'm sorry. And I want to split. Oh, here we go. And we want to, okay, access database. I want to split the data into two files. All right. Now we have the database splitter dialog box. I'm sorry, I just don't do that much splitting of them, so I kind of have to work myself through it like you do. All right, we've got the database splitter wizard, okay, and we're going to click Split Database, okay, and I'm just following along in the textbook. And see, they tell you split B, and they give us some suggested names. All right. There we are. We've got the copy. And so the next step, we've got that. Okay. Now, all right, we navigate the location we want to store the backend database. So we're going to go to that location. This will be the desktop. We're going to split it. Up. Let's cancel this for just a minute. This home page, I need to close it because it's using a table. Here we go. My apologies. So we'll do the access database, split the database, and we're going to create our backend database. So we'll find the place we're going to store it. Now we click split. Okay, and it tells us it was successfully split. Okay. And then we're going to go over to the, is the front end file. So now let's look at the front end file. I'll open this up. Okay. And this is the front end file. Okay. Notice that all that's here, and we should have just simply just the forms. Okay. and we have the forms and the reports. That's nothing more than the input, but we don't have all the queries or any of that executable language or the tables. Now, I'm just kind of walking my way through this. And the guard company category, click category and click object type. So we'll open it back up here. And there's the copy. I'm not spelling well today. Okay. It tells us to go back in here and on the all access objects. I'll close that. And all access objects, we did that. And the next step they want us to do is garden company category. Okay. Now we should have the category here. We've got sales by category. We got a report. Okay. All right. Now we have to go back to the other database that we had open. So we'll close this one back. And we're going back to the other one. That was the garden company. Yeah. All right. That's going to walk through all these security measures. Like I say, this is one of these things is just kind of, you can explore through it if you wish. And I'm going to look here at customer. I've got these customer categories. We're going to work with the split one. Okay. And it's okay. Yeah, there we go. That's where I got myself in trouble. There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry. And those are the unassigned object. Those are all of the unassigned objects as the text talks about. And we can click on the categories. Okay. And we get that view. And I'm so sorry. Let's go back over here. Okay. And we haven't assigned those. So we click on categories. Okay. And then they'll talk about putting a password on it or securing it for distribution. And that moves a little bit beyond what we cover in the case. Well, I have it open. So I'll open this back up for us. And these are the unassigned objects. And then we can do whatever work we want to with them. And I'm going to pause the recording and pause the share. And pause the. Okay, that must have been one of those robocalls. But as the text tells, we use the unassigned, and then we can go in. Of course, we can see all of the objects that are there, and then we get ready to distribute that database. And that's when you're going to make an ACCDE package. I'll give you all the security notices. I don't think you're going to be splitting databases, so I didn't really see too much value in all of that, but it's a piece in terms of protecting databases. And again, I doubt that you'll do it. If you really want to be secure, what I suggest that you do is you export it. The tables are let me put it like this. The tables are the heart of any database, okay? And so what you'll want to do is to take the data, i.e. the tables, and if you wanted to distribute the tables, that's fine. If you want to distribute this, you can create an ACCDE file, okay, as they talk about here. But some of this I think walks you into some areas where it's almost like you're a database administrator, and that's not the point. But I just wanted to show you that you could split a database off, okay? And then we had the unassigned objects. Now, all the unassigned objects on here, let me put it back here. These unassigned objects, all right, I can export them into another database. And then I just have the split form up here, which I can then distribute. It just doesn't matter. So that's chapter 12. Not a lot there, but some useful stuff, but some things I think that in the long run are a little bit beyond the course, but I did want to give you a chance to see them. I'm going to close this off, and now we're going to go back to chapter 13. Okay, and this is about customizing your database, changing default program options, customizing the ribbon. These are things that are just really just, as they say, customization issues or customization techniques you can do. And of course, you can work with chapter 13, and they'll let you personalize it. The truth is that, again, I wanted you to see that this is materials here and to see that you can do this, okay? By the same token, this is really the stuff of a database administrator, which is not you. But as an end user, they will probably allow you some things that will let you customize the a database if you have one. But as I've said before, the whole concept between the data warehouse is to get the analytical cube effect. We've talked about that. to leverage the law of large numbers where I'm hooking all kinds of tables together, okay? Having tables that have complete data integrity, that means unique records, no missing data, okay? And then running the queries, and that's pretty much it. So these chapter 12 and 13 are really the stuff of a heavy access user or a DBA, and you just won't. You might be able to customize what's going to happen is you're going to have a dashboard. Now the table underneath it is what will feed data for you to run queries, etc., and generate reports. But below here, here in chapter 12 and 13, we're kind of below we're below the radar a little bit. I just want to make sure that you understood that things like forms and those objects are front end objects, okay, and then the back end objects in a database are the tables. Okay, well that would pretty much clean that up as far as what we were doing. So I want to go back over here now, okay, and we're going to go back to our resources, and we're going to get that file ACCDB6, because we're going to learn some techniques here that are probably going to be a little more beneficial to us as end users. So we'll go up, we'll scroll back up here to we'll go to the welcome module. And we'll find that ACCDB6 supposed to be in here in the welcome. Now we'll scroll down here. There it is. This is the file that you're going to want to upload for access case 6. And so I'm going to download this. This is Uber Audio. And we'll take it apart. We'll show it in the folder. And I'll put it down here on my desktop. And I'm going to open this up. Now I'll enable the content. And then I'm going to save this. Okay. And I put it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it Uber Audio Harmon. Okay. Now I want you to notice something. This little menu pops up. Now I'm going to show you how this is a form, basically. All right. And let me walk you through that process. And this is some of the things that we do in terms of, and you saw, well, this is the same type of use of a form that we found with Northwind Traders. And you always want to have this because it controls access to, it controls your ability to get to certain tables or to run certain queries. And here are the tasks that you can do. Now, before I go into this, all right, let me do my little, where's my annotator at today? Spotlight. Okay, before I get into this material, let's go back over and we'll click File. And we'll click Options. Okay. Under User Interface Options, enable live preview, yeah. And then a default file format, okay. And folder, we've got it where we keep it. And the background themes. These are customization kinds of things that I can do. Now, on my back on my general current database, all right, let me show you this. Options for the current database. If I want, I can display a form when the database opens. Okay, so that's what you saw with Northwind Traders. That's what you see here as well. So it's set up so the form opens, and the whole idea is you're going to guide the end user to what they need to do. Right? Again, it's not only keeping control of the tables, but you also want control of what someone's going to be able to do within your data warehouse, what they can look at or access. And in fact, this is really, again, this is part of this business of creating dashboards. So here's your marketing database, and you can see here's what we can do: add a new customer, add a new company, produce a complete mailing list, exit the system. Okay, now Northwind Traders had a login where they could track usage. The truth is, when you go to work and you log into the company, then they know when you log in, when you log out. Canvas gives me a record of who logs in and who logs out every single day. Okay, so let's look at the design view of this for just a minute. All right, and let's click on the design, and you'll see that we have some objects up here that we can use for the design. This should look familiar. The button when we did the macros. Here's a chart, and we can add existing fields. This is down at the design level. Now, I'm going to click on add a new customer, and it will give me the properties. I scroll all the way down here to the properties, and it will tell me what those properties are. All right. And I'll try to edge this out just a bit. This is on the properties sheet. And this is given command 0, but it has a caption. There we go. There we go. There we are. And we've got a shape. And we've got all of the settings for that right there. And the cursor on a hover, what it will do. And as you come down here, when you click it, it runs the add customer macro. So we have some macros in here. Let's go over here and take a look. Well, it should be here in the objects, and you'll see them. Here at the bottom are the macros for this form. Add a company. Okay. Add a customer, and show a full mailing list. Of course, we could then exit the system. That's a default. Now I'm going to click on that, and let's see. Look at the form properties. There they are. We looked at that again. So that's really all that we're doing there. And we'll go back to the form view, and here we are. You say this starts to sound like that what we do is we create this warehouse, maybe with data marts, and maybe linked to a data lake, which is all unstructured data. And then we control what goes in it. Yes, the formatting, the unique records, and then we control how everybody uses it. Exactly. We impose a discipline on that system to make sure that we get the data that we need. We collect the data that we need. We clean it up sufficiently for us to use it. We store it appropriately, and then we go and get it appropriately. This is just, this would be somebody's dashboard, basically, on their table. And now, let me stop for a moment. There are two types of dashboards, essentially, as far as I'm concerned. One of them is oriented towards showing you current results, and that is it might look like a speedometer that says, okay, we're like at up to 80% of our sales quota. It might be a bar graph that shows us sales of our products across categories. It could be timeline data. It's visual in nature, and so you can see what's going on, just like the dashboard of your car. The other type of dashboard is one that I would call an executable dashboard, meaning I can go and get stuff. I can generate reports. I can execute things. And that's what we have here. Now, I guess when we looked at Northwind Traders, that was a hybrid where it had a login and then a secondary form that was where I could go get data, I could run reports, I could see some things like if I needed to order, that type of stuff. It just depends, okay, and the complexity there's no way to predict how complex they're going to be given a certain management level. Executive level people may want all kinds of detail. They tend, I think, to run one extreme. They want all kinds of detail, or they want, just like I've said, those key KPIs, the key performance indicators. What 5 things you need to know today for your business? What are the 5 things you need to know today, right now? Okay, and we'll just execute this. And again, these are tied to a macro. Okay, and when we did the properties, now this is going to execute for me because I clicked it. It should execute. So we should go to new customer. There it is. And so if I'm ready to add a new record, I do. If I want to add a new company, I do that. Okay? And these are each tied to a macro. And remember, a macro is nothing more than a set of nothing more than a set of recorded keystrokes. That's all it is. Now, I think macros in Excel are, you can do these by using wizards, and Chapter 12 will take you through that. There's nothing really magical about it. You've done it already when we worked with the Excel case back when we did those macros for that company that was, it was wanting to know the, slow inventory arrival, fast inventory arrival, etc. And then here's add new company, close that form. Here's produce a complete mailing list. Okay, and there's that mailing list. Okay, and then exit the system. I'm going to click that off because exit the system closes the database. Now we're going to come down and we've got some access objects. We're going to do some queries. Before that, let's look at something here. As I talked about before, one of the things that make databases such a powerful tool is that we can leverage the law of large numbers. And you say, what do you mean? Well, the more tables I can string together and the more records I have in those tables, the more data points I have. And the more data points I have, the more I get a clearer and clearer picture. Okay? It's just like pixels for all intents and purposes. So we've got these 1, 2, 3, 4 tables. We've got a music codes table. Let's look at it. It sounds like it's a dimension table, and it is. Notice that it's got a music ID. We'll just go down to the design view. We'll see it. It's got music ID and then music interest. So this is a dimension table. Type of music, and we have that, of course, each one's assigned a unique number. Now, when I look at this, it's required no, duplicates, okay, yes. See, again, this is one of the things the authors leave in there for people like me to say, look, this should probably be an auto number, and it ought to be, I would say, no duplicates. Well, let's see. Wait a minute. No, because we're going to be using, well, no, we shouldn't have duplicate categories of music. That's absurd. So now let's look at this one. This is Uber, and this is a record table, okay? And it has contact data, first and last name of the people in these different companies and their music interests and their organizations. Then we have B, and this is the organization and then the address. What they have done here is, instead of having one monster table that's going to have 19 fields, they split it up. So they have one table that's more oriented towards, A is more oriented towards the person's name and their interests and where they're at, and then Uber B, which is really more like an address table. Now, I'm going to close this off, okay, and I'm going to close off A, and we're going to click on Database Tools, and we're going to click at Relationships. All right, and you're going to see that this table, that the two tables are related. Okay, they're related on organization. And I'll try to get this to squinch out for me a little bit so I can. And if hopefully I can do this. Try to get this to squinch out a little bit. Well, I don't really need to, because remember they had and we tied them together using organizations. And now, since we've done that, we have a full set of contact data at our disposal if we want to. I'm going to click on the little connector on the Edit Relationships, okay? And you're going to see that they're both tied together on the org category, and we'll click Join Type and send Inner Join where the rows or the join fields for both tables are equal. That's why we have to control input. We have to use as many drop-down menus as we possibly can to control and make sure that records are unique, so that we can take this thing and we can use it. And I'm click OK, and I'll close that off. Now, let's look at some of the queries we've got, and we'll open this up, and this shows us, this is basically, we've run the Uber B. Let's go back into the design view and take a look. And we've got both tables, and we mixed and matched. Here we use the organization from B. We use the first name from A, table A. We use the last name from table A. The organization is from, we use the organization from table B. The address from table B. The city, the state, the country, and the zip code. Okay? And that's how then we can get the output. And so we'll click up here and we'll look at the data sheet view, and you'll see All right, or you should be able to see, task 1, all this information. These up here. And there's their first and last name, organization, address, city, etc. Now, this is a full mailing list if you want to. I think it's a nightmare working with this, with the access to try to do reports. They're just not pretty. I'd say throw it out into an Excel file, and then take it from there and throw it into Word and make it look nice. Okay. So, and you should become pretty comfortable now in terms of how we've combined these. Now, let's look at task 4A. All right. And we're going to open that up. And we're doing some kind of a union. How do I know? I can see the union icon. And let's go down here and go into the design view. Well, it's not going to show, since it's doing a union, it's going to show us the SQL view. And we're selecting the first name and the last name and the organization from Uber A. And then notice it says union, okay, select, and then the last name, the first name, the organization from Uber C, okay, and then we order it by organization, okay. So that's the SQL that under a structured query language under. It's not that difficult. The key thing is there we use the term union, okay. Now, we took those two and we linked them together, and let's look back up here again and look at the datasheet view. And there we are. Let's look at task 4B that I had here. This is a record company. And here we got the organization, the country, the name, last name, and then the first name of these people who are our customers. And let's go and look at the design view real quick. And there we be. And again, you can see the two joined tables. All right, so you say, okay, so would it be possible, Dr. Harmon, if I wanted to have a third table that shows me how much we've sold to that company, sales trends, or the up or down? Yeah, for sure. Again, that's the beauty of this, is when we link these tables, then we can leverage the law of large numbers. We can collect tremendous amounts of data, process that data, and start to look for patterns. And that's when we're using this using this technology in the best way. Okay. Now here's task number 5. All right. And let's look at it. Now I want you to notice something very interesting here. I'm going to close the shutter and take a look here. And of course, here are the two tables. And I've got the first name, the last name, the address, I've got the city, I've got the state, and then I have the country. And what this is telling me, and I'm kind of remembering it from the case that we did, is we said, okay, we want the music interests. I'll just open this all the way up. And I want the music interests from table A, and it's hard rock or hip hop. Anybody in the United States who names that their A list, if you will, okay, what they're most interested in. And we get that from anybody in the United States, okay? And then on their B music interests, we want anybody from the United States who says it's hip hop or hard rock. So they have a primary and a secondary interest, okay? And so we're looking at that, and we use the USA in both of these criteria, And then on the criteria for A, we put that up there, hard rock or hip hop. And then on the criteria for B, we put hard rock or hip hop again. And what we've done is this is a nested query, okay, for all intents and purposes. It's nested, meaning we capture everybody from the same country with the two music interests, hip hop or hard rock or hip hop. And so we get everybody in the United States, period. That's it. And we'll go back up and we'll go down and take a look at the SQL view of this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. And then notice the key thing is this right here is when we join them, the tables on organization. Okay. And then the nested part of the query is we put the country equals USA, and then we did the and statement. You see the and. And that's typically an and is an intersection. And then we come down to music interests. I tell the students in the database administration class, and you probably are coming to that same conclusion, that there are going to be times when it's just easier just to use the graphic user interface. That's why it's there, instead of trying to write code, because that code starts to get a little bit complex. So we'll go back up here and look at the data sheet view, and there we be. So we've this case kind of encapsulates a lot of what we've done. And we'll do the navigation pane back out, and you can see we've performed those different tasks. Now, there is a mailing labels, a marketing report, and then a full mailing list. Now, if we want to create, and I just don't do that many labels, but if we want to create labels, let's home, and then we'll click create. And let me see, forms. Here's the icon for wizards. The icon for reports. Pardon me, for labels. Click that, and you should have done, if you took 1103 with us, that first course, you should have done this before. All we're doing is we're just this walks us through the type of paper we want, the size, etc., and it has some defaults. Okay, and the font color, and what do I want on my mailing list? All right, and on this one, I would want the name, the address, first name, last name, and I have 4 fields for what we call a prototype label. Okay, and so I'm going to add the first name, then the last name. Okay, I'm going to press enter. And some of you may have done this already. I would hope you've done it in 1103. I'm going to put the address, okay, and I'm going to put the city, and then a comma, and then I'm going to put the state, okay, and then I'm going to add the country, and I've got everything I need there. Oh, okay, I need the zip, so I'm going to put the, let's see, I'm going to go here and get rid of the country. I'm going to redo the third. I've got the address. I'm going to add the city, and then a comma, and then the state. Then I'm entered for my fourth one, which would be the country. Then I would put a space and then the zip, and we click next. And it says, how do I want to sort my labels? And I can sort them by country, by zip code, however I want to have them sorted. I'm going to have them sorted by state, by city. And we'll see what we get. I'll click next. And there it is. Okay. I've got them by city. And if you do a lot of direct mail or you work with a lot of direct mail, on the access is not bad in terms of setting it up for direct mail, because they have the post office wants it all in a particular way, which is why nowadays everybody sends emails. You don't have to mess with that. But if you're going to send hard copy stuff, then you have to follow that. So we've got this this labels, and we're done. Now we can go back up on that. And they show us the, I'll go back up to the layout report view. There you go. Oh, we got it done. Okay, that'll just about do it. This is part 2 of the other night of Thursday the 15th. I'll post this over in the announcements so you can take a look at it. This is case number 6.